The Iowa River Landing Sculpture Walk is made up of 11 sculptures that were installed in 2013. This project was created thanks to an Iowa Department of Cultural Affairs Great Places grant and City of Coralville funds. Each of the 11 sculptures were created by Iowa artists, and they are inspired by a work in the Iowa Writers Library located in the Coralville Marriott Hotel and Conference Center, which is a collection of about 800 books written by former students, graduates, and faculty of the Iowa Writers Workshop at the University of Iowa, maintained by the Coralville Public Library. The Coralville website on the sculpture walk offers a brochure and map for the sculptures. You can start with any sculpture you want. There is no particular order. The first 4 I walked around are more near the storefront areas. I definitely recommend checking out the restaurants in the area and getting a cupcake from Scratch Cupcakery while you're there. The sculpture I started with was called Made of Money. It is made of stainless steel and was created by Midwest Press, Aaron Wilson, and Tim Dooley. It stands at 120 inches by 48 inches by 48 inches. Each of the 5 sides has holes represent money falling and says, "How can we help you?" around the bottom. The literary reference for this sculpture is Kurt Vonnegut's 1965 God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater. The artist statement on this representation is, "This novel presents Vonnegut's consideration of the role wealth plays in achieving happiness." The protagonist is a World War II decorated veteran and an heir to an immense fortune. The war changes him, and he decides to help people philanthropically, eventually opening an office in Rosewater, Indiana, with a sign above his door reading, "Rosewater Foundation, how can we help you?" Crossing the street and walking a few yards down, I came upon the next sculpture, Iowa Blue, the Urbane Chicken. This sculpture is made out of cast aluminum and was created by Amber O'Hara. It stands at 62 inches by 36 inches by 76 inches. The literary reference for the Urbane Chicken is David B. Axelrod's 1980, The Man Who Fell in Love with a Chicken. The artist's statement on this representation is, "I have created a sculpture of the noble chicken, as described in the poem by David B. Axelrod. The Iowa Blue Chicken is the only breed of chicken that was created in the state of Iowa and bred to survive Iowa's harsh winters and its hot summers." Walking further down the street and around the corner laid the next sculpture. I had a little trouble seeing this one at first. You have to look up on top of the wall to see this sculpture. This sculpture is called To Dorothy and is made of steel and green patina and stands at 72 inches by 42 inches by 26 inches. The artist is James Anthony Bearden and represents the Marvin Bell's poem in Nightworks Poems 1962 to 2000 called To Dorothy. The artist's statement on his piece is, "Marvin Bell thinks his wife Dorothy is beautiful because of her flaws and characteristics that make her unique. The poem focuses on what characteristics make Dorothy unique by saying that she is beautiful inexactly. Marvin accepts her flaws, the key to any love." Not far from To Dorothy is a sculpture based on Jane Smiley's 1991 1,000 Acres. Like the book it references, the sculpture is called 1,000 Acres and was created by V. Skip Willits. It is made of weatherproof steel and stainless steel and stands at 90 inches by 40 inches by 40 inches. The artist's statement on their sculpture is, "The book is based on Shakespeare's King Lear. In this story, an aging farmer wishes to bestow upon his 3 daughters his kingdom, fields of 10-foot thick topsoil. This sculpture depicts the figures of the 3 daughters, menacingly draped and surrounded in sheets of corrugated metal representing the farm fields and the secrets they hold." The next 3 sculptures are down past the museums and near the Marriott Hotel and Conference Center. Standing at 96 inches, 24 inches, 24 inches, the next sculpture I came across was Convergence by Victoria Ann Reed and is made of aluminum. This sculpture is based on Jory Graham's poem, The Visible World, from The Dream of the United Field, Selected Poems, 1974 to 1994. This sculpture is humanoid and looks as if it is converging with flowers. The artist had this to say, "I am moved by Jory Graham's poetry. My work is a kind of parallel to Graham's, creating a vision of a thing from several different conceptual angles at once. While the object appears to be a figure, in reality the subject is the memory. Further down the street is the next sculpture called Gilead by Kristen Garnett. It is made of steel and stainless steel and stands at 72 inches by 26 inches by 26 inches. It is a representation of Marilyn Robinson's 2004 Gilead. The artist's statement is, "This novel is the story of fathers and sons, and my sculpture is an interpretation of this family of men." The piece consists of a series of 4 graduated steel tubes nesting inside of each other, with the smallest made from stainless steel. Like the rings of a tree or ripples on a pond expanding outward, each sleeve represents a man in this story. Near the entrance leading to the walkway, the Iowa River Landing Wetlands Park sits the sculpture Tipping Point, created by Sarah Depp. It is made of stainless steel and aluminum and stands at 120 inches by 84 inches by 72 inches. It represents the poem Sea Change by Jory Graham from Sea Change Poems. Here is the artist's statement on their work. In Sea Change, Jory Graham refers to the mind, head, and environmental problems humankind is creating, especially overpopulation. The layers of my human head are sectioned, creating voids, referring to the absence of human forethought Jory Graham references in her poems. The last 4 sculptures can be found along the walkway surrounding the Iowa River Landing Wetlands Park. Not far from Tipping Point is the sculpture powered by solar energy called After Trillium, created by Anthony Castronovo. It is made out of cast aluminum, glass, and custom electronics and stands at 96 inches by 48 inches by 48 inches. It is based on Mark Levine's Arboretum from The Wilds. The solar panels allow for the flower at the top to open and close. The artist states, in Mark Levine's poems, Arboretum, he explores the tradition of an arboretum as a way to probe man's interactions with nature. My sculptures are technobiotic representations of nature, and they aestheticize nature as a slick synthesis of old and new technology. In this relationship, I see irony and cynicism, but also hope and excitement. Taking a left at the T intersection and walking a ways, you come across the next sculpture, which doubles as a bench. It was created by Nonak Famavong and is called Prairie Breeze Bench. It is made of painted Core 10 steel and is 96 inches by 25 inches by 20 inches. It is inspired by Landscape Iowa by James Hurst from The Good Earth, 3 Poets of the Prairie, Paul Engel, James Hurst, and William Stafford, by Robert Dana, Scott Cowellity, and Denise Lowe, with a foreword by Michael Carey. On the bench is a plaque with the poem inscribed on it. The base looks like the earth of the prairie and the grass swaying in the wind. The artist states, this work references the motion of prairie grass as it's nearly flattened and almost torn off the soil, and rock it clings to by the wind. As a seat, this sculpture allows the viewer to find a moment of calm on an ergonomic shape while staring at the sky. A longer walk down the trail leads to my favorite sculpture by Dan Perry called Alidade, made of stainless steel and aluminum, standing at 114 inches by 60 inches by 36 inches. The bright blue telescope representing an alidade is eye-catching and reminds me of going out to the countryside with my telescope to look at the stars. This sculpture is based on the poem 1, 2, 3 by James Galvin from X Poems. The artist states, an alidade is an instrument used by astronomers. My intention is for the form of the sculpture to resemble this tool while implying a shift in scale through a sort of forced perspective. The sculpture is composed of recognizable elements, such as architectural structures and backyard fences, combined with abstract references to the Iowa landscape and planetary orbits. Walking down the path back towards the Marriott leads to the final sculpture on my walk, From the River. This is created by the same artist who made Prairie Breeze Bench, Bonak Famavong. It is made of stainless steel and is 95 inches by 46 inches by 24 inches. The literary reference for this sculpture is the poem Where Water Comes Together with Other Water, Poems, by Raymond Carver. The artist states, my artwork is a derivative visual language inspired by my Asian American heritage. I splice visual elements together to create a visual poetry. From the River is a depiction of a lowly river carp. I've dressed this carp in linear patterns that reference Frank Lloyd Wright's stained glass windows, bringing nature, environment, and design into one form. This was a very pleasant walk with beautiful views. This is a great afternoon trip for anyone looking for a relaxing activity to do alone, with friends, or with family.